This drone fits in the palm of my hand, shoots high quality 8K video, and flies itself around like your own personal camera crew. And in this video, I'm going to share 12 reasons the HoverAir X1 Pro Max is the best drone for travel and vlogging, as well as 2 things I don't love about it. Now, HoverAir did send me this drone to review, but they're not paying me to make this video, and I can say whatever I want about it. The only catch is I have only 9 days to make this review. So let's get going. The first reason this is the perfect travel and vlogging drone is because it's tiny and extremely light. My iPhone weighs in at 228 grams, while the HoverAir X1 Pro Max weighs in at just 194 grams, with the battery included. Because it's so light, it adds barely any weight to your backpack if you're hiking with it, or your luggage if you're traveling with it. It's almost like it's not there. And it's not much bigger than an iPhone either. In fact, it's so small I can comfortably fit it in the pocket of my shorts and go about my day without really even noticing it, which is something that can't be said about just about any other drone. And because this drone is so light, it falls under the 249 gram weight limit, which means that in most countries there are way less regulations on how and where you can fly, and many places you won't even have to register it. But being tiny and portable doesn't really matter if the drone doesn't work. So next, let's check out how well the HoverAir X1 Pro Max actually works and how easy it is to use. The second reason the HoverAir X1 Pro Max is perfect for travel and vlogging is because it's super easy to use. You can literally just pull it out of your pocket, turn it on, push the button on the drone, and it will take off and orbit around you like this. And then when it's done flying, it will fly back to you. You can just stick out your hand under it, and it will automatically land right on your hand. There's like 15 different flight modes on this drone, but my favorites are, first of all, the different follow modes. Follow, where the drone follows behind you. Dolly track, where the drone flies in front of you. Side track, where the drone flies, shockingly, to the side. And cycling mode, which is a follow mode specifically customized for following bikes. There's also a ski mode, but I haven't tested that out because it's summer and I still need to learn how to ski. Aside from the different follow modes, there's orbit mode, pretty self-explanatory. Spiral mode, where the drone flies up in a spiral like this. Dolly zoom, where the drone flies away while zooming in. Zoom out, where the drone has the camera pointed at you and flies away up to 100 feet. And bird's eye view, where the drone points the camera straight down and flies up again up to 100 feet. And you can change the basic settings for each of these modes, like how far away it will fly, directly from the drone by using these 2 little buttons on the side of the main takeoff and fly button, which is really great because it means that you don't have to connect your phone to change settings as often. And speaking of connecting it to your phone, yes, you can connect it to your phone either by Bluetooth, and then you can change all of the settings on the drone, or it will also connect over Wi-Fi. And that enables a couple of things. First of all, you can preview the footage from the drone on your phone, and you can also manually control the drone. It puts little joysticks on the screen. And I've got to say, this is the best virtual joysticks on a screen experience I have ever had from any drone. Usually I find virtual joysticks to be basically unusable, but for some reason the way HoverAir implemented them in the app actually works decently well. And with the phone connected, you can also enable co-pilot mode, which lets you make little adjustments to the direction the drone is tracking you from in the tracking modes. And in the other modes, it lets you take over control from the drone and fly it manually. All in all, I've got to say I'm really impressed with the HoverAir app experience. It's one of the smoothest experiences I've had of flying a drone from my phone. By the way, if you want to create professional cinematic shots with your HoverAir or any other drone, there's a couple things that you won't want to miss. First of all, I put together a PDF checklist of all of my best settings to get the most cinematic shots with the HoverAir X1 Pro Max, and I'm giving it away completely for free, and I'll put a link where you can download that in the description. And second of all, I've made a completely free 45-minute drone filmmaking training where I share my top 10 secrets to getting the most cinematic shots possible with any drone that you have. In that training, I cover everything from the best settings to use, how to compose your shots, what the best time of day to shoot is, and how to work with natural light, how to edit your videos, how to color grade them, and a bunch more. Again, completely free, no strings attached, and link to that is down in the description as well. Now, back to the review. The next reason the X1 Pro Max is a great travel and vlogging drone is its tracking performance. I just got done riding a 6-mile mountain bike trail here at Canaan Valley State Park, mostly through the woods, a little bit through the open, and I've got to say I'm quite impressed with how the X1 Pro Max handled that trail. Now, it's not perfect. If you zip around a corner really fast, it'll sometimes go off into the bushes and crash, but that is pretty much what I've experienced with any drone when you are weaving down really tight trails in the woods. Crashes are inevitable, but the drone did not take any damage from any of those crashes, so bonus points there. I have noticed when it's tracking me walking that sometimes if I go around an obstacle, it will kind of lose me and not be able to go and fly to the side around that obstacle to find me. But all in all, it has a very good tracking system. I'd say one of the best tracking drones out there. Next up is camera quality. Now, on the spec sheet, this drone claims to be able to shoot 8K video. And you might be a bit skeptical of that claim. Is this actually 8K? Is it actually any good? And I have to say, I was a bit skeptical too when I heard that it shoots 8K video, especially given that basically no other drones shoot in 8K. But I was pleasantly surprised to discover that the 8K footage out of this drone is actually quite good. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be the same quality of 8K footage as you'd get from a RED camera or something like that, but obviously those cameras have a way bigger image sensor, and 8K aside, the entire camera is a lot bigger and a lot heavier than this entire drone. Whatever the case, the 8K footage out of this drone is amazingly detailed and just all in all, great footage. Now, 8K resolution is only available with the normal color profile, but I was actually surprised to find that the normal color profile on this drone is actually quite good. Normally, I always shoot in log or some kind of flat color profile for more gradability, but on the HoverAir X1 Pro Max, especially with the additional detail from the 8K video versus 4K, I found myself using normal color profile quite a bit and not being too unhappy about it. And it also shoots good quality 4K video. Dropping down to 4K enables HDR mode, gives you more dynamic range, and also enables flat color profiles like hybrid log gamma for more color grading flexibility. I've actually ended up using the regular non-flat 4K HDR mode on this drone more than hybrid log gamma or H-log because I have a pretty tight schedule for making this video, and the colors actually look really good straight out of the drone, so I have to do less color grading. Another thing that HoverAir nailed on this drone is that you can set all of your camera settings manually on the X1 Pro Max, including shutter speed, ISO, and white balance. You can change all of these settings both when you're flying it with your phone as well as when you're using the optional beacon. Now, a lot of the time when you're just flying this as a selfie drone, you might not want to have to worry about all of those manual camera settings, and I can report that the auto mode on this drone actually does an incredible job. I was actually surprised at how well auto mode balances the exposure most of the time. Obviously, sometimes it gets it wrong. That's just the nature of auto exposure on any camera, but all in all, it's very solid. And for all of you photographers out there, I have good news. This drone shoots raw DNG photos. This is something that HoverAir fairly recently added, and it's a great feature that lets you have way more editing flexibility on your photos. Another thing I've noticed with the HoverAir is just how quick it is to get up and flying. So to demonstrate how quickly you can get up and flying, I'll just pull the drone out of my pocket, unfold it, hold down the button, and it will turn on. There we go, it's making noise. It is in hover mode, and we are waiting for it to get omni-terrain activated. Takes a minute to do this. You don't have to wait for that as long as you're not flying over water or some kind of fancy reflective surfaces or something. Boom, there we go. Omni-terrain is activated, and we can just have the drone take off. And there we go, we're in the air. I don't know exactly how many seconds that took. We'll put it up on the screen, but it was relatively quick and quite a bit faster than it can sometimes take for drones to acquire a GPS log. Another cool feature of the X1 Pro Max is this little tiny beacon that basically acts as a mini remote for the drone. On the beacon, there's a little touchscreen where you can both preview the live feed from the drone as well as change basically any setting that you can change on your phone. This includes all of your camera settings like manually setting ISO, shutter speed, and white balance, as well as changing color profiles, changing any of the flight mode options like how far away the drone flies. All of that good stuff, you can do it right here on this little tiny remote. You can also make adjustments to any of the flight modes, like modifying exactly what direction the drone is following you from using the little joystick and rocker switch that are on this remote. The Beacon also uses something called HoverLink that somehow talks to the drone and is supposed to make the tracking more precise, although I haven't really done a ton of testing to figure out just how much more precise it makes it. The great thing about this tiny remote is that it is super easy to carry with you if you're having the drone follow you or orbit around you. You can just hold it in your hand and it won't really even show up in the drone shot, which is really nice because you don't have to use your phone to try to set settings and then quick stuff it away in your pocket while you get your actual drone shot. This also has a magnetic mount on the bottom that you can use to attach it to just about anything with a GoPro or 1/4-inch mount. For example, HoverAir has an accessory to mount this on the handlebars of your bike, another one that lets you clip it onto your pocket or your shirt or your backpack strap. It's just a super nice, small, and versatile remote for getting selfie style shots. And it's also really nice to not have to use your phone for one more thing when you're traveling. Usually you have enough things to use your phone for to drain the battery. So having a little Beacon remote like this is pretty cool. You can purchase this remote on its own, or it is also included with the cycling combo, which is what HoverAir sent me. And I'd say it's a great accessory to get because they've done an incredible job of making this a very usable device, even with this tiny touchscreen. Another thing I love about the X1 Pro Max is that there is a JoyStick remote available for it. And the design of this is got to be one of the coolest product designs I've seen in a while. You just take the Beacon, and then you get these two joysticks that are available separately, and they have little magnets and connectors on them, and you just click them together, one on one side, and then you click the other one onto the other side. There you have your joysticks all out to the side, and so that you have grips, you just pull the sides out, bend them down like so, and now you have a full-blown joystick remote that you can fly your drone with. It has the joysticks here, it has a gimbal tilt wheel up here on the top, it has a button here to start and stop recording, all of the essential stuff. Plus, you can use the screen of the Beacon to be able to see your drone footage. It is quite tiny, but it does let you see what you're filming without attaching anything else to the remote. And as with the Beacon, you can also change all of your camera settings directly on this screen. You can also connect your phone to this remote with the included USB cable, and that will let you use your phone as a larger monitor for the remote. And using these joysticks with the Beacon will also give you an increased control range over just flying with your phone connected directly to the drone. All in all, I've got to say, fantastically cool product design for these joysticks. Another thing that's great about this drone for travel and vlogging is that it's not very loud, so it's less likely to attract attention to you or disturb people when you're flying. If I take off with the drone about arm's length away, you can hear how loud it is here on my mic. It's not super quiet, but it's not super loud either. If we run a decibel meter again with it about arm's length away and the phone right here next to my mouth, it is about 66 decibels. When I'm talking, I'm at about 80 decibels. So it's quieter than basically just a normal conversation or around that level, although it is a bit more annoying because it is relatively high pitched, but it's not super loud, which always makes it easier to fly in a public place than a bigger, louder drone. Another reason this drone is great for travel and vlogging is just how durable and hard to break it is. They actually send you a piece of the plastic that it's made out of in the box with the drone, and they tell you to try to bend it and break it, smash it, pull it apart, however you want. And I did put it through some good torture and it did not break, which I was extremely impressed by. So it's definitely made out of tough material. Now, the one potential weak point on this drone is the gimbal. Pretty early on in testing this drone, I had a pretty bad crash. I ran it into a banister and it fell down probably over 10 feet onto some wood, hit directly onto the camera. And after that, whenever I fly it to one side, the gimbal kind of goes crazy. Now, I'm not sure that a lot of other drones would have survived that crash either, and I've crashed it a bunch of times since then with no damage to the drone. So all in all, I've got to say it's pretty sturdy with crashes. Sometimes it's just a bit random what hits the ground, what you crash into, and whether anything breaks. But all in all, I've got to say on durability, this drone gets pretty good marks. Another great feature of this drone for vlogging and travel is that it has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, in addition to a micro SD card slot that can support up to 1 terabyte SD cards. This is great, so if you forget your SD card, which happens to the best of us, you won't be totally out of luck. You can still shoot footage with this drone. And yet another feature I like on this drone is the fail-safe return to home. When you're flying this drone a ways away, say with the joysticks or even just with your phone, it will memorize the location that you started from, and then if you lose connection to your remote, it will automatically fly back to that location. And I actually had this happen to me once. I was almost 1,000 feet away and I lost connection to the drone. It was out over some trees, but because of fail-safe return to home, it was able to fly back and land within a few feet of where I took off, and that literally saved the drone. So great feature on the X1 Pro Max. And finally, the last but not least reason this is a great drone is because you can actually get it. Now, if you live outside the US, you can get just about anything, but here in the US, some drones are currently not available to buy. But the HoverAir X1 Pro Max is. You can go and order it right now. I'll actually put a link where you can get one down in the description. But yes, they are available to order, and that is a huge advantage if you live in the US and you want to get a drone and fly it and get good shots with it right now. Next up is price. This is something I wouldn't say is really either a pro or a con, but just something to be aware of. The HoverAir drone on its own comes in at $699, and the cycling combo, which is what HoverAir sent me, aside from the joystick controller, comes in at $1,079, and many of the other combos come in somewhere around there. The cycling combo gets you a bunch of different accessories, but the most notable are the beacons so that you can easily control it from a ways away, as well as 2 extra batteries and a charging hub. Now, this certainly isn't the cheapest drone in the world, but if it does exactly what you need it to, it can be well worth it. Now, while there are a lot of great things about the HoverAir X1 Pro Max, there are a couple of things that I don't love, and the first of those is the battery life. The battery on this drone is rated at 16 minutes of flight time, and I did a battery life test where I took the drone off in hover mode, had it hover until it auto landed, and I got right at 13 minutes of flight time. Now, this isn't particularly surprising. You literally never ever get the rated flight time on a drone because it's measured in some perfectly controlled environment that doesn't really exist in the real world. But I have to say 13 minutes isn't too far off from the rated flight time of 16 minutes. So it's not too bad there, but just all in all, that's not very long to be able to keep your drone in the air for. Now, I definitely do understand that this is a super compact and lightweight drone, and that just limits the amount of power that you can cram into a battery. And for selfie style shots where you're just having the drone orbit around you or fly up above you, that's not too bad, but it certainly would be nice if the flight time was a bit longer. So not really something that I would consider a deal breaker for this drone, but just something to be aware of. The second thing I don't love about this drone is the control range. It's not very impressive. When you're flying it with your iPhone, you can control it 100 or a couple hundred feet away, and then you start to run out of signal range. And with the joysticks attached to the beacon, you're supposed to be able to fly it up to a technical maximum range of 0.6 miles, but the furthest I've got it to go is about 900 feet. Now, that is obviously not under the perfect optimal conditions with zero interference, but that is the furthest I've been able to fly the drone before I lost connection. Now, for what this drone is primarily built for, getting selfie style shots fairly close to you, this isn't really a problem. And in my experience with it, trying to shoot that kind of footage, I didn't actually find the range limitation as annoying as I thought it would be. But don't get this drone with the expectation of being able to fly miles away, hundreds of feet up, trying to get those kind of drone shots. This drone is simply not built for that. It's made to be a selfie drone, and it just doesn't have the control range to be able to fly at long distances. So finally, after all of that, is this the best drone for travel and vlogging? Well, I'd say the answer to that is yes and no. And the answer depends on what you want to do with this drone. If you want a little tiny light drone that's super portable, you can launch from your hand, will automatically orbit you, automatically follow you around and get great shots, which is what this drone is designed to do, then I'd say yes. It is pretty much the perfect travel and vlogging drone. Is it perfect? No. But for travel and vlogging, it's really great that you can just fold this drone up, stick it in your pocket or in a bag, pull it out, put push a button, have it orbit around you, follow you, automatically get shots. It's pretty small, doesn't attract a lot of attention. For that, it is great. Now, if you want a drone that can fly super far up in the sky, way out to long distances, kind of classic drone, this is not the drone for that. It's built as a follow me drone. It doesn't have super long control range. And so if you want a long range drone, there are better options for that. But for what this drone is designed to do, I think it is fantastic. And shout out to HoverAir for doing a great job designing this drone specifically for this purpose. As I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in picking one of these up, I will put a link in the description where you can find it, and using that link does help support the channel if you found this video helpful. If you want to watch a video showing how to get pro drone shots with any drone, make sure to click right here and watch this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to see more like this, and we'll see you in the next one.